morning, everyone. Sally here. Welcome to the Menopause Mindset. This is Monday. I am here. How are you doing this morning? Let me know if you're watching. Do say hi. So today we're talking about burnout, and I'm going to give you my 6 steps to help you through burnout if you are experiencing burnout. But I just need to check, as always, because I always forget this, if I'm using the right microphone. Hang on. Yes, I am. Good. Okay, so this is a really important subject because many of us in menopause start experiencing burnout. I know I did a little bit before. Actually, it was probably about the same time as my perimenopause was kicking in, and it had quite significant negative impacts on my life. I started doubting myself. I started feeling like there was something wrong with me. I certainly didn't feel like I could enjoy life like I used to. So it stops you from feeling good. And as a result of that, we really do need to address it. So let me know if you experience burnout. Let me know what the consequences of burnout have been for you. Let me know what you think it is, what it's driven by, what causes it. We're going to have a discussion all about this so we can really dive into this a lot deeper. So what is burnout then? What does it feel like in your body? Maybe you don't even know that you're experiencing it. So for me, it was a feeling of dragging myself around. It was a feeling of, everything about my body just felt lethargic. I felt like a wet lettuce. I put that in my description, but that heavy sort of bedraggled feeling, tired all the time. I might have short bursts of energy. But then I would literally just be forced to rest. It felt like there was this gripping feeling behind my eyes, just like my eyes really, really wanting to close, and just utterly exhausted. But it was also accompanied by this feeling of apathy and really not giving two hoots, not giving a rat's ass about anything that I used to care about. This lack of motivation. I would literally have to pull myself by the scruff of the neck to go and do something, to maybe clear the kitchen or put some posts on Instagram or promote whatever it was that I was promoting at the time. So there's real lack of motivation feeling. And accompanying that was a sense of tearfulness. I would cry at a yoga advert or something. Just this like real overly emotional lack of resilience, just feeling super sensitive. Not only my skin and my brain and my eyes, but also my emotions were feeling super sensitive as well. And it would cause me to want to retreat, to want to run away from the world because I had no energy to smile or listen to anyone. Listening was really, really difficult, let alone formulating sentences or communicating with anyone. So let me know what your experiences have been with burnout. I'm just going to see who's on. Say hi if you're watching. Hi, Ginny. Lovely to see you. Okay, so let me know what your experiences of burnout have been, if you've had them or if you know anybody that's had them, because they are a menopausal issue, and that is why we're talking about it today. For me, it was the anxiety that started first, which kind of led to the burnout, because I was always on edge. I was always in fear mode. I was always in panic mode. I was always in this like trying to better myself mode, always in the growth mode, right? Never in the rest mode. And so in menopause, we have these declining hormones. We have declining estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. And as they decline, the stress hormones elevate. Or it could be that your stress hormones are elevating, which is making your sex hormones decline, because so it might have coincided with something negative happening to you, like a breakup or loss of a job or something. So your stress hormones decline, which causes your stress hormones increase, which causes your sex hormones to decline. So it is a menopausal issue. Hi, Helen. Ginny, you can totally relate to this. I burnt out in the autumn of 2018, had to take 6 months off. Yeah, I think I remember you telling me. Yeah, we had a conversation, didn't we, about that? Yeah, my story as well. My burnout story is a little bit different because burnout for me has been sort of on and off. I get periods of burnout which last for a few days and then I'm back on again. And I think that's kind of a good thing because I'm managing it, but I can totally see how you can be burnt out for long, extended periods of time, especially if you're not enjoying your job or if your job is relentless and you keep having to go back and push and just, expend all of your precious energy and you've got no chance to build your energy back up again. So what is burnout then? Going back to this. So burnout is literally when your adrenals have had enough and they go, no, you've had enough stress hormone. We need to rest because adrenaline is a life-saving drug. It's a life-saving hormone and you need it for, if you had to save a life or save your own life, they give you a shot of adrenaline if you are fading away in hospital. It happened to my partner when he was given too much morphine. He was sort of fading away and they had to give him a shot of adrenaline to bring all of his systems back online. So it's a very important drug. We need it, but we get so addicted to it. Ginny, you've said, I hit after a very traumatic time. Yeah, and loss of a pet under a tragic circumstance. Don't. I love animals. You feel like you've never fully bounced back. Yeah, it can so happen. Hi, Melissa, as well. Yeah, it can so happen. And returning from burnout is a lifelong treatment, personally, I feel. There's no quick fix solution. I mean, there are some quick fix solutions, but they're not real solutions. They're just sort of sticking plaster. So going back to what I was saying before, when we are constantly bathed in cortisol and adrenaline, eventually the adrenals just turn off. So there's this thing called the HPA axis, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, and it talks to each other. So it always starts with the brain because the hypothalamus and the pituitary are obviously in the brain. And so it's the brain, the thinking, the mindset and the emotions which switch the adrenaline on and off. But sometimes your body wisdom takes over and it goes, you know what? You've had enough. We're going to shut you down and you're going to feel really like you can't do anything. And this is the solution to the problem of continued stress. So the fact that you feel floppy and knackered is actually your body protecting you. It's giving your adrenals chance to repair themselves. So it's very, very important that you heed that warning. And this brings me to my first point. What can we do? I've got 6 steps for you. So step 1 is don't ignore it. Please don't ignore burnout. Hi, TJ. So if we ignore it, we can end up with chronic fatigue, ME, these long-term exhausted, long-term, continual exhausted states, basically. So it's very easy, isn't it, just to kind of get the warning, get better, and then push on through, and then get burnt out again, and then push on through. So we really do need to try to understand what is our body telling us and what can we do about it. So this is about listening to your body and really acknowledging what's happening to you, because unlike things like a heart attack or a stroke, burnout kind of creeps in and creeps up. And unfortunately, the medical profession or some medical professionals don't take burnout seriously. I mean, they're probably burnt out themselves and pushing through. So we really do need to be our own doctor and tune into our own body wisdom. So it's important to, burnout really is an inward journey. And it's about being a rebel and going the opposite way of what culture is telling us to do. So generally speaking, in culture, we are told growth is best. This is capitalism. This is, the world that we live in. It's all about growth. And growth is good. I'm not saying growth isn't good. I love growth. But there has to be a balance. We can't just be all growth and no replenishment. You don't expect your phone to just keep going. You have to put it on the side. You have to put it to bed. You have to plug it in and then it charges up again. And we have to do the same thing with us. We're not machines. We can't just keep going. Go, 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 go. And I remember having quite a lot of acupuncture over, I think mine was 2008 too, Ginny. It was that hot summer of 2008 when burnout really, really hit me. And I'd also split up with a partner and I was kind of going through a lot of emotional upheaval, but it was that the heat. I mean, burnout's a kind of hot issue as well, and having all of that heat, I was floored. I was flatlined. So I started having acupuncture, which helped. But I remember my acupuncturist going, look, you keep coming back and you keep saying the same thing over and over again. When are you going to give something up? So at the time I had I was doing Blaker and the Bombshells, which is my vintage harmony trio. I was running and growing Inspiring Talks Brighton. I was trying to grow my hypnotherapy business, and I also had quite a lot of singing students as well. So there was a lot going on, and I really, in the end, had to let a few things go. It was difficult, but my body just told me that I had to do that in the end, and really streamline my focus. So now all I focus on really is the menopause stuff and combined with the hypnotherapy stuff. And that's really my main focus. I still do a few singing clients, but I'm not running a public speaking event. I don't really do any more Blaker and the Bombshells gigs. So, and it's absolutely fine. I've accepted that that's the way that it needs to be in order for me to move through my menopausal transition without being too traumatized. Because let's face it, when we become perimenopausal, we can't do what we used to do in our 20s. In my 20s, I would have been able to have done that, and in my early 30s, but certainly not now. So it is a mindset shift. Hi, Rachel. Melissa says, you're so right. We get encouraged to work. Yeah, we do, don't we? But I think it's the women that are rewriting the rules, because that work attitude doesn't suit women, and women going through the menopause need a different approach. We need flexibility and we need more rest periods. So just a little side note then, when you're in the midst of burnout and you've got all of this stuff to do and you physically can't do it, it's really about just doing the bare minimum to get across to the other side while your body heals itself and repairs itself. So only you will know what that is. For me, I have to let my house go to pot. I can't focus on cleaning. I can barely focus on making a healthy meal. I mean, for me, when I'm burnt out, that takes a lot of energy, but it is something that I have to prioritize because nutrition is part of the cure for burnout. So you have to save your energy for those tasks that are sort of, there's a word for it. Can't think now. Like with business, you have income generating tasks, and with burnout recovery, you have energy generating tasks. So preparing a healthy, nutritious meal, even though it takes energy, it's going to give you energy back. So it's about knowing and understanding what your energy generating tasks are, and then prioritizing those and letting the others just fall by the wayside. Is phoning your mum an energy generating task? Maybe not. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe you've got a great mum. Is working on your business an energy generating task? Maybe not. Maybe there's just one email that you need to send rather than 10. So, all right, number 2, find out what is causing your burnout. So this is about really looking at the behaviors, the habits and behaviors that you have got that is causing you to get more stressed than you need to be. So maybe you are taking on too much, like me. Maybe you were in mental overwhelm. Maybe your life was too complicated. Maybe you're trying to juggle too much. I know people that do this, and I just think, how on earth do you live your life? You're dealing with so much, and in the end, nothing gets done. So they're just like on this loop, on this hamster wheel where nothing is getting done. Is your life sort of not streamlined? Do you not have any sort of routines in your life? Are you kind of getting up and being really unfocused and just doing not non-energy generating tasks? So, or are you getting up and doing things that are going to really help you? So are you saying yes to people? Are you saying yes to too many people? And I find this a lot with my clients, especially women in the perimenopause who are possibly a little bit overweight or struggling with weight. They find it so hard to say no. And this is where the boundaries kick in. We really need to raise our boundaries so that we are not being sucked dry of our emotional energy. And then looking at what have I written here? When it's always funny when I can't understand my own notes. Oh yeah. So for me, I would get it when I had to do something a bit scary or a bit out of my comfort zone. So again, it's a mind thing. The mind is thinking that this thing that I'm about to do is scary. So it's sabotaging me in a way. It's making me go, oh, maybe if you create an illness, then you won't have to do the thing that you're scared of, maybe like a public speaking thing. I remember having it when I was 14 and I'd organised a party and I started feeling this burnout, and it's a little bit of self-sabotage going on there. So just noticing when you are getting it. The short-term solution to burnout could be some hormone replacement therapy. It could be. And it's definitely worth looking into, but remembering that hormone replacement therapy is not a solution. It's a band-aid. Okay, it's a sticking plaster. You have to go to the lifestyle, you have to go to the mindset in order to really cure this burnout. So, number 3, do the inner work. Now, the cure for burnout is really slowing down. If we could all go and live on a desert island and have everything provided for us, we probably wouldn't be burnt out, right? So it's partly the world that we live in, but it is partly our mindset and what we believe about ourselves, and getting to the root of why we drive ourselves into the ground, why we do a job that we don't particularly enjoy, why we keep putting other people before us, why we never prioritize our self-care. So what is driving the self-sabotage? Is it a feeling that I'm not good enough? Is it a feeling that I don't deserve to feel happy? Is it a belief that women have to suffer? That women have to struggle, that my mum was always tired, my nan was always tired, my aunts were always tired, and maybe that belief has just trickled down into us. It's recognizing what language we have got going around in our head, in our subconscious mind, that is driving this self-sabotage and driving this belief that I don't deserve to feel energized, I don't deserve to feel happy, I don't deserve to put myself first. So where is your perspective skewed? Now there's this, coming back to this idea of, doing work that we don't enjoy or living a life that we don't particularly enjoy. I heard this expression once and I think it's really true. You're either, you're You're either tired or you're inspired. So basically, if you're tired, it means that you're not very inspired. You're either tired. No, what is it? I can't remember it completely. Sorry, this is really bad for me. I thought I knew it, but it's you're either tired or inspired or something along those lines. So the premise is, if you're inspired, you're not going to be tired. If you're uninspired, you're going to be tired, right? So it's looking at where that has come from. Again, are we just sort of accepting that we have to be knackered, we have to be burnt out, our lives have to be lackluster? So looking at those internal beliefs, those patterns, those subconscious strategies that you've got going on that are holding you back from having wildly amazing energy and just feeling good in your body and in your life. And of course, the treatment that I do, RTT, can really help with this. I work with so many women and men who have had burnout and who are coming out the other side of it. I worked with one lady who was in the army, and she was a personal trainer, and she had chronic fatigue, and now she is just doing so well and is training for the marathon now. So she couldn't have done that a while ago. So number 4, this is about creating headspace. This is about getting back to self-care, clearing the mental clutter, and prioritizing your self-care. So what do you need to do? There are so many self-care practices that we can do daily or every other day, or just something to get ourselves back into alignment. So, a warm bath with salt, Himalayan sea salt, breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, rest, just staring into outer space, staring at a wall, listening to some crystal healing music, bathing yourself in a gong bath. I know we're all stuck at home at the moment, but we can do our self-care practices at home. They don't cost money. We can all sit in a chair and relax and meditate. So what's stopping you? Is it knowing how to? Is it having the motivation to? Is it feeling that these things don't really matter? Are you addicted to the go, 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 go? Now that is a big one, because the go, go, go is very exciting, but the sitting and meditating is a bit boring. And often this is because we don't value being with ourselves. We are always trying to run away from ourselves. And I see it so much with my clients. It's this distraction, that distraction, the shopping, the food, the socializing, always wanting to go out there, be totally distracted. And then when it comes to a night in on their own, they're like, oh my God, I don't know how to be with myself. So this is about you learning how to be with yourself. And one of the ways you can do that is just slowing everything down. Breathe. Have these little reminders. So when you are pouring yourself a glass of water, you might want to use that as a cue to just relax your shoulders. When you go in and out of your car, you might want to use that as a cue to just pause and take a deep breath. When you are driving on the motorway, not that we can drive at the moment, but maybe when you're driving to and from your shop, do your weekly shop, instead of just blindly going along, maybe doing some positive affirmations or some self-soothing language. When you are, when you are about to flick your TV on, instead of just mindlessly flicking it on, take a deep breath. Think about the intention behind what do you want while you're watching TV. Do you want to commit to half an hour of watching TV without checking your phone? Do you want to be fully focused on what you're seeing? Do you want to feel like all of your muscles are melting and relaxing into the chair around you? So it's remembering that rest is part of the work. If we've been burnt out, we have to learn to integrate the rest. And this is about having conversations with our bosses, especially around menopause, because menopausal women, perimenopausal women require more rest. So, as part of the RTT treatment, I give my clients a 20-minute recording. And the best time to listen to that is at some point after lunch and before dinner. Now, my clients who work full time often say, well, I can't do that. The best time for me is before I go to bed, which is all well and good. It still works before you go to bed. But the trouble is you might slip off into a delta brainwave state, and we need to keep you around alpha theta. And after lunch is when your mind, your brain is so receptive to those alpha theta brainwave frequencies. So this is about you going to your boss and asking for 20 minutes. You know, having the confidence to do that is so important, but a lot of women don't. They feel like they can't. They feel like their male bosses are not going to understand menopause, or their female bosses are just going to think they're weak because they're not driving and pushing through. But actually, when you rest, it's scientifically proven, when you rest in the afternoon for 20 minutes, I think 23 minutes is the ideal time, you gain a whole hour or 2 hours of productivity at the other end of the day. So it's absolutely worth doing. TJ, what other forms of tired have you seen? Maybe one's not obvious. I'm feeling uninspired, but I'm not sure why. Yeah, there's emotional apathy, there's compassion fatigue. That's something I know therapists struggle with, where they're having to be compassionate all of the time. And if you've got a big family, or if you are if you feel like you are the empathizer in the family, you might, or you're trying to set an example for your kids, you might find that you're running out of compassion. So compassion fatigue, and then women get angry, they start feeling resentful, and those emotions are justified and they need an outlet. So yeah, that's another area where tired, it's not just a physical tiredness, it's a mental tiredness. And burnout is that, it's everything. It's sort of like a mental exhaustion, a lack of inspiration that manifests physically. And TJ, you've said you love your recording. You listen all the time. Thank you. I'm glad you love it. So yeah, that is one of the things I do. I create personalized recordings for my clients. They're not just generic from a script. Parts of them are from scripts, but I spend about an hour before my client's appointment making sure that I have extracted all of the information from their consultation and created a script for them. So it's absolutely personal, it's absolutely relevant, and it's inspiring, and it's motivational. Yeah, so you're feeling uninspired, but you're not sure why, TJ. Could it be lockdown? Could it be that you're in the same environment all day, every day? And because we do need variety, human beings need variety. We also need consistency, but we also need variety. So I wonder if it's that, and if it is that, possibly looking at ways of mixing it up, maybe looking at ways of getting more pleasure in your life. I'll leave you to use your imagination with that one, but sure, we can have a conversation about that. All right, so number 5, love what you've got and stop trying to accumulate more. Now, I think in lockdown, this has become so apparent, hasn't it? Like, we don't have to, we're not going anywhere. A lot of us are not spending any money. So we're really having to find inspiration, or we're having to find gratitude in what we've got around us. And I don't know about you, but I'm having days where I'm like, oh yeah, this is fine, and then other days where it's like, same old. But we're learning to live with less. That's what I'm saying. We are learning to live with less, and this is part of the burnout strategy. Is stop trying, or stop thinking that you need more. Like, when will enough be enough? Do you really need to keep traveling? Do you really need to keep socializing? Do you really need to keep accumulating? Like, how many more clients do you actually need? Like, how much growth do you really need? When will enough be enough? And I think this is about stopping, taking stock, and looking around. Like I've just said to TJ, looking around and going, this is enough. And one of the things that you can do is actually observe, like take a look at everything that you have got around you. So looking at the pictures that you've got on the wall, looking at your equipment, recognizing your phone, recognizing the table, recognizing the food that you've got in the kitchen, rather than just blindly going about your day and not seeing everything that you've got. This is the gratitude piece. This is the small pleasures, the simple pleasures, getting back to really focusing on what is in front of you rather than what is all this like wishful, all this wishful stuff, like we want to get on that first class flight, or, you know, our dreams, our goals, our ambitions. I'm not saying don't dream, because dreaming is part of the manifestation process, but it's getting a balance of both, so that we can come back to right now. And this is the problem of a lot of famous people. You know, they're driven to become famous because they don't feel like they're enough on the inside. But when they get there, they still don't feel like they're enough. They've got mansions, they've got loads of cars, they've got staff, they've got all the jewelry and clothes that they could possibly ever want, but they still don't feel like they're enough. And then they have all of these responsibilities that they have to live up to on top of that. So everything gets inflamed and inflated when you become famous. And people who don't feel like they're enough on the inside are very driven to becoming famous. So that was step 5. Breathe, focus on what you've got around you, take real pleasure in the simplicity of life. Just stop, put reminders up to remind yourself to do this. Little post-it notes are really, really good. It's about coming back to self. Okay. Now, when you start feeling better, when you start feeling like you have more energy again, this is about learning how to build your resilience back up again. So resilience is a big part of the burnout story, building your resilience back up again, but it's doing it in a way that is slow. You don't want to go at resilience building like a bull at a gate, because you're going to end up with burnout again. So it's a slow, steady journey. And I'm talking months and years, not just weeks. So yes, we need to look at our exercise. Yes, we need to look at our rest strategies. And yes, we need to look at our nutrition strategies as well. So I had no resilience. I couldn't walk into town. I would have to sort of end up getting the bus halfway. I couldn't socialize. I couldn't have more than like 1 or 2 singing students. I would have to wear like sunglasses to teach because I was so sensitive. I didn't have the resilience to socialize or speak to anyone in the evening. I was hypersensitive. And what I've done is I've created more adaptation energy. So adaptation energy is basically like a bank. Think of it like your bank account with reserves of cash in there. So you might have got like 20 quid in there, which is a really low level of reserve. And what you want to do is build up your bank account energetic reserve to like, you know, whatever you need, 10 grand or something. And then that makes you feel happy. So whenever those reserves go down, they're not going into minus. If you think of 0 as burnout, you don't want them to go into the minus. You want them to stay above. And the more you've got in there, the more adaptation energy you've got, the more you can handle. So I always think of Ant Middleton. I haven't read his book. He's the one that has got that TV program, Who Dares Wins. He's like an SAS military expert. When I look at him, I think of somebody who has like huge amounts of resilience. I mean, he's into the mindset stuff, he's into the physical stuff, but he's also into the emotional stuff as well, the subconscious programming and the things that that guy has done. Like, I would need way more adaptation energy to throw myself out of a helicopter for sure. Yes, my lovely Helen, yes, I will send you the link. And Ginny, yes, my yoga teaching manifested in compassion fatigue. Yes, the class I thought was my favourite at the over 70s was the first one I culled with when adrenal fatigue hit. There you go. So interesting, isn't it? So we want to create adaptation energy. How do we do that? We have to create a strong body. There's no getting away from it. But we have to do it in a way that is healthy, because if you start just exercising and exercising and exercising, your muscles are going to become so hard and so like tight that that's going to cause burnout eventually as well. So I started with a personal trainer last year, and we built up from the ground up really slowly. I never felt absolutely exhausted after a session with her. In fact, I always left feeling like I could do more. And that's kind of how you want to be if you've got burnout. You definitely want to be creating strong muscles. Strong muscles means you are more metabolically efficient. So we want to be doing resistance training. Now, obviously, if you're burnt out, you're thinking, well, how can I possibly do that? Again, you've got to start from the ground up. Do what you can with the energy that you've got. So if you're floored on the sofa, perhaps just try a little bit of hoovering and then stop. Maybe a little bit of dusting and then stop. Maybe 1 or 2 squats and then stop. So this is about not surrendering completely to the floor. Maybe you have to for the first few days, but then maybe you look at ways you can build up your training, because that's what it is. You're training your resilience, building your adaptation energy. Look at ways that you can do that effectively for you. And this for me is where a personal trainer or a coach comes in handy, because if you go to an exercise class or an aerobics class, you kind of have to keep up the pace as everybody else. But for me, that doesn't work. I have to exercise at my own pace. And I'm still making progress, even though I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak, or, Britney at the front. So, yeah, it's finding what works for you. But remember, you have to intersperse exercise with rest. Rest is part of the work. So let's talk about nutrition. There's no other way around it. You have to quit sugar and stimulants. Nicotine, caffeine, sugar. You got to get them out of your life. Now, I'm not saying that you can never have them again, but using them you can use them in a very intelligent way. So there's a guy called Ben Greenfield who actually microdoses with things like nicotine and caffeine and something like dark chocolate as well. I actually have some dark chocolate, 85%, first thing in the morning, and it gives me like a little injection of energy, because what happens is if you're burnt out, your cortisol levels are quite low first thing in the morning, and we need to kickstart them. So exercising first thing in the morning kickstarts the cortisol production if you're burnt out. So doing your exercise first thing in the morning with a little bit of licorice is good. Siberian ginseng is good. First thing in the morning. Ashwagandha is good to take over time. It's not something that continues to work forever, unlike a magnesium supplement. you go on it for a period of time and then you stop. So this is about going on a supplementation protocol rather than just taking supplements willy-nilly. So at the moment I'm doing electrolytes because my hydration was getting a bit low. So electrolytes, because I've really upped the ante on my physical training now. So I'm really needing electrolytes, but you need electrolytes because it helps hydration, and lack of hydration can make burnout a lot worse. I'm doing vitamin D, I'm doing vitamin C because I managed to get hold of some, yes. And I'm doing magnesium, and I'm doing flax seeds as well. So I'm going to be doing that for a month and then redressing it. So it's really looking at a protocol for you and deciding what you need for you. And obviously seeing a health coach is really good for this. I can help you with stuff like this as well. So where was I? I was on the sugar. Yeah, a lot of people find it really hard to quit sugar because sugar is so emotionally driven. And this is where the RTT comes in, because it helps you to detach yourself from the need to have sugar. Yeah. I mean, sugar for me, if I eat cake or if I eat something that's high in sugar, immediately I feel moody and irritable. So that's just a surefire way to know that it's gone straight to your nervous system and to your hormones. It's not good at all, especially at menopause. I speak a lot about quitting sugar. I see a lot of my RTT clients come for quitting sugar. You just don't need it in your life. Fruit is wonderful. There's plenty of enough natural, healthy sugars in fruit. I've got a nice big grapefruit waiting for me after this, so I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so let's conclude. I didn't write my steps down. So don't ignore it. It's there for a reason. It's telling you something. Listen to what it's telling you. Number 2, find out what's causing it. What are you doing to make this worse? Number 3, do the inner work. Burnout is a mental issue. It manifests physically, but at the root of it, like all these things, it's probably something to do with childhood. Number 4, give yourself time. Rest is part of the work. Prioritize your self-care. Number 5, really look at what you've got around you. This is the gratitude piece. Love your environment. Be happy now. Be happy right now with what you've got, and try to balance wanting more, because we're always going to want more, but try and balance being driven to get more with just a peace with what you've got around you right now. Number 6, when you start feeling better, build your resilience back up slowly. Exercise, rest, nutrition. And lastly, I just want to say, talk about burnout, talk about menopause. Now, we have to be careful here, because the more we focus on the negatives, the more we wire the negatives in. But we need to make sure that we are talking to the right people about menopause and about burnout and about our hormones and about what we need as women to make our work-life balance good, to make the quality of our lives good. So have conversations with your male friends, have conversations with your bosses, have conversations with other women. Break the taboo, get the conversation going. We are not machines. We are people with a bio, electrical, chemical makeup, and we need to work with what we've got, not against it. So please do share this video or invite your male friend, your female friend into this group, because I am so passionate about helping women to realize that menopause doesn't have to be miserable. It really doesn't. And in case you haven't seen, I declared yesterday, in fact, I didn't post in this group, but I declared yesterday that I am going to be launching the Menopause Mindset Academy in September. So if you want to get on the list for that, then I think the list is the link is somewhere. If you're watching it on YouTube, it'll be down there. But if you're on Facebook, it'll be up there. Pop your name down on that list and I'll continue to send you updates about that. And also make sure you go listen to the podcast. So as of 2 weeks' time, the podcast is going to be featuring some guests. So it's not just me rambling on about stuff you may have already heard before. I'll have some guests on there from all walks of life. We've got exercise experts, hormone doctors, nutritionalists, Kundalini yoga experts, all sorts. So make sure you have a listen. It's called The Menopause Mindset, available on Spotify, iTunes, all the usual platforms. So, sorry, Helen. I wondered what Labour mate was, but it's Gabor Mate. Yeah, when the body says no. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a legend. I love Gabor Mate. TJ, you said, I've always been highly reactive to sugar, even when I was young. Yeah, I know. And the rice thing as well. White rice, pure sugar. Melissa, you've said, great advice. Thanks. That's awesome. Thank you so much for watching, ladies. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And I will see you again next week. Take care. Lots of love. Bye.